and sector issues that could be overlooked at a central level, loss of innovation and flexibility. All of those factors, all of those concerns that have been expressed are those that we're very conscious of and go into this project with great sensitivities to the possibilities that those risks are something that could damage what we have. So what is the CSTO? Well, it's an organization that was created by Parliament in the budget bill. It reports to the Minister of Finance. It has a 3-year mandate to assist in establishing a Canadian national securities regulator. Its mandate is to assist in the establishment of that regulator and the regime, and to establish a regulatory authority on a national scale. Its objectives, and this is a key element that I want to emphasize, our objectives are to build on the strengths of the existing regulatory system, but also to give Canada the best securities regulator in the world. And we are absolutely sincere in our belief that that can be achieved. We have 2 key deliverables by July 2010. One is the transition plan, which has to be approved by all of the ministers, both federal and the participating provinces, as well as provide to the Minister of Finance our recommended draft Securities Act. We have a small staff working with consultants and advisors, the Department of Finance and the participating regulators. We have offices in Vancouver, Toronto, and an unstaffed office in Ottawa that we use for meetings there. Here, this is our project schedule, so that you'll see that the pace that we're going at. For spring of 2010, which is just around the corner, we are committed to provide the Securities Act to the Minister of Finance, who has indicated that he will table it in Parliament in spring. By July, we will have a transition plan that will have to be approved, as I mentioned, by the provinces. And then in 2010 to 2011, we're talking about full integration, physical, technical, administrative, building of the infrastructure. There'll be the establishment of the initial rules, mainly from the national instruments that exist now. There'll be an initial business plan, and the key will be to recruit good, strong, talented people from across the country with expertise and skill sets to be the first set of the officials, the board and the executives. By 2010, we expect that the securities regulator will be up and running. Sorry, what did I say? 2020, well, that's what I would hope, but 2012. So as I've said before, this project builds on the work and the recommendations of a number of think tanks that have gone before. The Hawken Committee report was the most recent one, which reported last year, recommending this structure. There was a great deal of consultation. We're building upon that consultation, although we're not bound by their recommendations. There was also the Crawford report in June of 2006 and the Wise Persons report in 2003, all of which recommended the need for a national regulator. So in terms of the boring stuff, the regulation, we know that the securities law framework in this country is made up of the Securities Act regulations, rules, which are done by the commissions, guidance, which is done by staff largely, which is policies and notices, and decisions and orders of the commissions, both at the adjudicative level as well as a committee. So this year, for the next 4 months or so, our focus is on the Act. And there are a number of key issues that remain outstanding in terms of what will be in the Act. that we are seeking consultation on and direction on. Those key elements are how to enhance enforcement, what kind of structure and governance model this organization is going to have, one that recognizes the diversity of this country and different business practices across the country, but also recognizes that in this modern age, the capital markets are no longer local. The capital markets are, if not national, they are international. And so we need a regime that reflects that, and that should be reflected in the Act. As well, a new element that we think we can bring to this country in our recommendations is an enhanced financial stability role. All over the various jurisdictions, the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, throughout IOSCO, financial stability and the reduction of what's known as systemic risk has really been a motivating factor for regulatory change. And we're not going to miss this opportunity to make sure that there is an opportunity to have an enhanced financial stability role to have the insights and the input of not only just securities regulators, but the securities industry in an environment where, to some extent, historically, it has been sort of not viewed as that relevant to this function, and that has changed. And also the other thing that we will be looking at is, and this gives us an opportunity, is to have a more coherent structure in terms of what products and systems and processes are subject to regulation, things that have been missed, things that fall through the cracks because of jurisdictional issues. So that will include derivatives, hedge funds, PPNs, etc. All of those will be able to be dealt with not in a piecemeal way, but in a coherent, systemic way. Very briefly, in terms of structure and governance, the key issues I've mentioned: governance being the oversight of management and strategy, policy, making rules and policies and advising the minister, and adjudication. And this is a key issue that we're looking at, how to make regulatory decisions in contested cases in a way that can contribute to fortifying enforcement and a more coherent approach to regulatory responses to some of the things you've been talking about, including fraud. But basically, the key element that what we have to really focus on, and what we are focusing on, is how to reflect the interests of all stakeholders and all regions in a national structure. Now, just to show how complicated things are, this is the recommendation for the organizational structure that the Hawken Committee recommended. And it is, it tries to achieve the objectives that we've been talking about. It talks about having a council of ministers, which would have vetoes over legislative changes. It talks about having a nominating committee, having provincial input into the nominating process, a governance board, an independent adjudicative tribunal. Whether this is the model that is selected, we're looking at